What's going on, y'all? Can y'all hear me? Let me know. No, there's a little technical difficulty just now or whatnot. But for those who are tuning in, thanks for tuning in. Had a really good conversation yesterday. I wanted to come back today to talk again about something else that I think is very important for a lot of people in business, but even just in life too. So I think you can use these principles in your life. And, we're going to be sharing some things that I found online to support this conversation. But the conversation is literally the number one financial action to boost your business success, right? I think a lot of times, sometimes when we look at our money, it can be complicated or it can be made more complicated than what it should be, right? But I'm a big believer that this one thing that you do, if you master, gives you a fighting chance against not just competition, but against the economy, against anything that may happen, right? And I'm a living testimony about that because that has helped me in my business. And the number one financial action to boost your business success is cash reserves, right? Cash reserves. When we say cash reserves, what does that mean? Cash reserves is something that you need to have in your business that you need to start building if you haven't already started to build, right? Because if you're not building cash reserves in your business, you are literally one disaster away from being out of business. And when you don't have any cash reserves, it's pretty hard to go to the bank to get money because the bank looks at you as, okay, you're down to your last dollar and now you're coming for lending or for loans. Yeah, I'm not interested in doing this transaction with you. And so now what are you left with? You're left with high interest loans such as Shopify loans, PayPal loans, merchant cash advance loans, right? All these loans out there that are, some will call predatory, right? I know a lot of people really enjoy these loans because they are there quickly. You can get them within 24 hours if you have the right things in place. Whereas if you go to the bank, it might take you a little bit longer. But anything that you get too quick may not be good for you. Let me repeat that. Anything that you get too quick may not be good for you. And that's not even just in cash reserves or in money. That's anything in life, right? Um, so it's very important that we start to build our cash and use this practice not only in your business, but also in your personal life, right? Look at how much money you're making in your business and then look how much money you're spending. And you could look at that for the past 3 to 6 months. How much money am I spending in my business? And then average that out. And that is your target that you should start to save towards. And then, so let's say, for example, your average business expenses are $10,000 a month, right? At minimum, you should build towards having $30,000 of cash reserves set to the side, right? And that's extremely important for your business because if you don't have that together, like I said earlier, you're one disaster away from being in a really, really tough place. And I know there's a lot of you that are watching this that feel what I'm saying because you've either gone through it or you're going through it right now, right? And these are the things that we stress to our clients that we work with. You have to build cash reserves. You have to, if you can, utilize the system that we utilize, which is profit first, right? Every 2 weeks, however much money is coming in, you take a percentage of that and you're transferring it to different accounts that we've helped you to set up. So you have an owner's pay account, you have a profit account, you have a tax account, and you have an expense account. So now you're transferring the money, and what you start to see is you now have an account to where you pay yourself a salary every 2 weeks. You have your profit account, which is going to continue building every single month. You have your tax account, which is going to continue building every single month. And then you have your expense account, which obviously is used to pay for different expenses that you have for the month. So you get in a really good rhythm and you start to see your money build. And as you start to see your money build, your confidence increases, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm in a really good place where I can actually see the money that's coming in. When I meet with my accountant and they go over the numbers and they say, hey, Ephraim, you have X amount of dollars in profit, I can actually say, you know what? You are right because I see that money in my bank account, right? So really getting into that space of managing your money much better, right? When I think about cash reserves and I think about just money in general. There's so many of us that as soon as we get money, we have to spend it. Like the money's just burning through our hands. We can't just hold on to it, right? There's situations where we've helped clients get lending from the bank, and they're like, oh my God, Ephraim, I have this money. What do I do with it? I'm ready to spend it right now. And it's like, no, hold on, slow down. Let's meet. Let's put a plan together, and then let's spend it. Don't just spend it all at once, right? Because you have to pay that money back. And what if you spend it? If you spend it all at once, what if what you're spending it on doesn't give you a return on investment, and you don't make any money off that? You still got to pay that money back. So it's extremely important that we manage our money better. It's extremely important that we start to build our cash reserves so that whenever emergencies happen, whenever a COVID-19 pandemic happens, whenever our sales start to take a dip because inflation has increased or the economy is taking a turn, we are not left for dead, right? We have a fighting chance to continue on in our business. And if you talk to a lot of businesses that are doing extremely well, I guarantee you 9, if not 10 out of 10 of them have a little bit, if not a lot of cash reserves, right? So I want to share my screen so y'all can see something. We're going to do a share screen. We're going to look at some of the things that I wanted to pull up to show you guys. There's 2 articles that I want to touch on. Here's the first one. We're going to share the screen real quick. Let me know if y'all can see that in the comments, right? But when we're looking at this, we have Apple, right? When we scroll up to the top of this, this is from the Investors Business Daily, right? It talks about 13 firms hoard $1 trillion in cash. We're looking at you, big tech, right? This was written back in September 19th of 2023. Now, I'm not saying to hoard money, right? Don't confuse my words. I'm saying we need to build cash reserves, right? So we're going to skip down to where they speak about Apple. And right here it says Apple's $166 billion cash problem, right? So it talks about how Apple has a cash problem. It's the opposite of most. Apple has too much cash, right? They've done a great job of selling, right? All of us that have Apple iPhones, they upsell you. You now have to buy a charger. You got to buy the headphones. You're probably buying the iPad. You're buying the MacBook. You're buying the Beats by Dre headphones. Like there's so many things they're selling you. And if you don't pay for everything in cash, guess what? They have a payment plan at no interest. So now they're making recurring revenue. And what does that lead to? It leads to a cash problem, right? But now I would say it's better to have a cash problem than to not have a cash problem, right? Because whenever you have money, you're able to do more things. You're able to invest in things, right? Take risk. There's risk that you can take that you can now say, you know what? Even though that didn't go well, I am still in the game. I'm still in business. I'm still trudging forward. It's not a situation to where I'm about to be out of business because I made this one mistake or I made this risk that didn't pan out, right? And I know that there's so many of us that when it comes to making decisions quickly in our business, we think about what could go wrong and we end up sitting on decisions and we don't make them. But imagine if you had the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to operate freely. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to hire this person. And even though I might spend, let's say, $10,000, $15,000 on this hire and it doesn't go well, I'm not out of the game. I'm not out of business because I have cash reserves that have held me over, right? And everything I'm talking about are things that I've gone through personally, right? I've taken a lot of L's, right? That's just what we call them, L's. I've taken risk and a lot of it has panned out, but then there's been a lot that hasn't panned out. But what held me over was the cash reserves, right? So it's extremely important that we start to build and develop that muscle so that we can be able to fight whenever the economy is doing whatever. Let's say you're in big box retail, you're in Target, and now they're saying, hey, we don't want you on our shelves anymore. If you have cash reserves, hopefully that can hold you over for some time before you figure out what your next move is. But if you have no reserves, you have nothing coming in, now you're susceptible to what may happen at any moment, right? So I'm all about risk prevention. What are some things that we can do to prevent risk or to mitigate risk? If I know that something, if I'm thinking about these things and I'm thinking about, okay, I have a contract with a big box retailer where they're gonna pay me X amount of dollars based upon the product that I'm selling. But what could go wrong, right? What are all the things that could go wrong? And I list it out, and I have a response for if that was to go wrong. This is what I would do. I have an action plan, right? So cash reserves can help be a part of that plan that we have for anything that could go, wrong in our business. Obviously, we talked about how cash reserves can help you whenever it comes to research and development. There might be a new product that you want to create. You need cash to go ahead and go do that research and development. So being able to pull from an account that has that money can now help you to say, you know what, I'm going to test this out before I roll it out. I'm not just going to go buy it and mass produce a bunch of this product and then put it on the market and it doesn't do well. I'm going to mass produce a little bit from the cash reserves and then put it out there and see what happens. If it doesn't go as according to plan, I pivot to something else. Cash reserves, obviously, we talked about the emergencies that it can help you through, right? There was a lot of us in 2020 that we were down to our last dollar whenever COVID happened. Thankfully, PPP, EIDL, unemployment rate, if you're in California, the EDD, there were at ERTC, there were so many different programs that were able to generate money for us to continue on in our business. But what if there was none of that? How many more businesses would have been out of luck? So we can't wait for anybody to come and save us. We can't wait for anybody to come and give us this contract or whatever that's going to save our lives. It's going to have us, moving forward. We got to also, as we're trying to go and get those contracts and get that business, we got to put a plan together for ourselves to be able to pretty much make it through any fire that might arise, right? So I wanted to really come on and talk about this because this is something that we're talking about every single day with our clients. You have to build cash reserves at minimum 3 months, right? And if you're not doing that, you're putting yourself in the line of fire. And you're going to hear me talk about this a lot more. This is a very big deal. We have to build our reserves, right? And if y'all have any questions around that, let me know because I can do follow-up videos. I can, really talk towards this because this is something I'm passionate about. And I think this is something that if a lot of entrepreneurs put this into play, can really help them. Now, I will say there's an opposite. There's people that I've worked with that they've become pros at building their cash reserves to the point where they don't want to spend money. Right. And I might have to bring on some people in the future to talk about this from a money mindset perspective. But I'm not saying hoard your money like Apple was doing and not spend it. But what I am saying is build your cash reserves to a certain point, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, put that money into a separate business savings account, out of sight, out of mind. And now the money that's coming in, use that to go aggressively grow your business. And you can do this simultaneously. You don't have to say, I'm not going to do anything in my business until I hit the 3 months. But you can have a plan and you can say, you know what, based on the previous months that I've been in business, this is the average revenue that's been coming in. So I speculate that I could build my 3-month cash reserve in about, let's say, 6 to 9 months. Right. So now you have a plan of attack and you're building towards that as you're simultaneously growing and operating your business. Right. So I just wanted to come on and talk about that because I think it's extremely important. I think more entrepreneurs need to have this practice in play. If you found this interesting, definitely let me know in the comments. Share this with your people. It's going to be obviously saved to the different platforms. But yeah, this is a great conversation. Follow me on all the platforms too at Ephraim CPA, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk to y'all later. Appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all soon.